Hey everyone, and we are good to go. There are a bunch of people here, and overall, just very community is very engaging. So, my next guest here is Althea, and she is with a company called Loris AI, and she is a creative technologist leading product at Loris AI. And her work revolves around how humans interact with, learn from, and create intelligent technology. And we are excited to hear about conversational AI.
Thank you so much for the kind introduction, Natalie. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Just a moment. There we go. Hopefully, y'all can see my presentation. Are we all good to go?
Yes, yes.
Okay, awesome. So, Natalie already gave the introduction talking about conversational AI and specifically uh, how it can help scale businesses in the CX organization. So let's start before we talk about scale, before we talk about AI, I want to talk just a little bit about what's going on in the world and why it's happening. So 2021, it's been a hard year. It's a perfect storm of, humans being humans, COVID-19 and the environment, everything being virtual like this conference right now, and technology pervasively everywhere. Everything is based on a connected network. So, what happens in 2021 after a customer has a bad interaction with a brand? Something like this. It's a pretty overwhelming slide. That's the point. These are screenshots of Twitter feeds for major brands and customers having sharing their very poor interactions. What I want to highlight here is right now, today, in this perfect storm, one bad interaction and moments after can reach millions of people. So why does this happen? Psychologically speaking, there's a concept in service recovery called perceived justice. And in this case, the perception of injustice. So when customers have such a bad experience that they feel like they have been done wrong, that they have been done wrong by the brand, it elicits us in a kind of emotional reaction that provokes them to respond to the injustice. It literally psychologically makes you want to tell the world about what happened to you. And that's just a human thing. Speaking of human psychology, that emotional reaction comes from the difference between what customers expect and what they receive. So, quick little graph here. What customers expect right now, no big surprises here. Increasingly, they want agents and their experience to be helpful. They want to be able to get a hold of you. They want it to be a prompt, quick resolution. Nothing new here, except when you pair this with the environment. Okay, so now all of those expectations are in real time, they're on digital channels. 79% of customers actually prefer it that way. The world is pushing it that way, but it was already headed and it's only been accelerated in this past couple of years. And when they are in real time digital channels, customers want an immediate response. Over here on the right, you can see different forms of real time channels and how much volume of tickets has jumped in just the past year. Overall, volume of tickets is increasing because customers are having digital transactions. So CX and their experience with the CX organization has become more and more important to brand perception. The only interaction that customers these days often have with a brand, with a company, is through customer service. So that interaction is crucial and it happens fast, it happens quick. What a good conversation or good interaction looks like hasn't changed much. We know that agents expect someone, or that customers expect agents to be prompt. We expect them to be helpful. We just talked about that. Nothing surprising, but what has changed is the definition or the expectation behind prompt. So you can see here what response time looks like in messaging or live digital channels is about 2 minutes. and versus email, 12 hours, 10 hours. You might say that phone channels are also real time, and that's true, but one key difference here is that on the flip side, agents have to deal with, whereas phone is single threaded, they have to deal with 3, 4, 5 conversations happening all at one time, all with customers who are dissatisfied and expecting a response in 2 minutes or less. And the stakes are high. No response, it can, means a blast on Twitter. So this is tough. This is tough for CX organizations. I just talked about what's happening for the agents. What's happening for business is an explosion in backlog, bad ratings, hard to gain visibility into conversations. And there's no way around this. This is inescapable. Even if your organization doesn't offer a live chat or a live real-time digital channel, customers still have Twitter. They still have the ability to ruin your brand based on that interaction. And in fact, they're more likely to be dissatisfied if you don't have live chat because that's what they prefer. So this sounds like bad news. What can we do about it? The thing is that the same technology that has created this environment that makes it possible for customers to blast you on Twitter in moments after an interaction is the same technology that allows your brand to have better customer satisfaction than ever. In fact, messaging, it has the highest rated customer satisfaction. Customers want it, they're getting it, and when they get it and it's good, they're super happy. And it's a, two sides of the same coin. That blast on Twitter can also be a promotion. 2/3 of customers say they recommended products or services after a positive service interaction. So this is an opportunity really to turn it around and leverage this same phenomenon, the same technology for to better your brand and to gain promotions, promoters, if you will. So what needs to happen in order for that to happen? During a conversation, we just talked about how you have about 2 minutes to come up with something to say. Conversation lasts 10 minutes or less, a good one. And then there are moments, minutes, seconds after the conversation to recover the interaction. So real-time interactions require real-time solutions. And typically speaking, CX organizations focused on improving the organization before and after the conversation. So before the conversation, you have the opportunity for deflection through self-service, giving the customer the ability to cancel their account themselves online in the site. You're able to train and coach your agents, write policies. And then after the conversation, you've got a team of QA specialists who are reviewing conversations, team leads are coaching agents. But given the scale and the shortened time frame behind this, before and after the conversation just doesn't cut it. So here's where conversational AI comes in. And conversational AI is an up and coming buzzword. A lot of people think association when they think about conversational AI, they think about chatbots. Chatbots are a form of chatbots leverage conversational AI, and they're really the first widespread, pretty ubiquitous use of conversational AI in the customer experience space. Conversational AI is applicable and it's based on advancements in natural language understanding and distributed networks that power much of the rest of the world that creates this technology. It's what's behind Twitter. It's what's behind the culture of now and the ability to summon a car to your door in a moment. So given the advanced capabilities of machines and who we are as humans, we talked about psychology. Understanding how conversational AI can be helpful is about breaking down what machines are good at and what humans are good at. So the good news is that while humans are strongly emotional and they're willing to blast you on Twitter, they're also emotional. That means they're compassionate. They're able to think of creative solutions. They're able to understand someone's tone or infer, it's not, you didn't say exactly what you meant, but I understood what you meant because I can imagine being you. These are things that humans are great at. And these are the kind of things that make a customer service interaction really phenomenal. That's what you want. You want someone to listen to you, you want someone to take care of your problem, show you compassion. But at the same time, we have this scale problem. So it just so happens machines, while they're not very good at the things that humans are good at, they're uniquely great at scale. So if you think of an example like Control F, really simple, not so much AI, but imagine you have 1,000-page document or an entire book, and you Control F for an exact word in that document. Machine can find that in seconds. Humans, not so much. I mean, what if it depends, it would take you hours, maybe days to read the whole book. Maybe you can't read it because it's in a different language or you don't have the attention span. So machines are great at doing things at scale, sifting through large volumes of data, identifying statistical patterns, doing things over and over and over again, whereas humans are inclined to make mistakes. So how can we think about these fundamental aspects of humans and machines and the environment and ecosystem that we're in, and use it to make the lives easier of those involved in customer success, customer experience, and ultimately help customers have a better conversation, better interactions with brands. So here's where we get to the meat of something a little more familiar, a little less philosophical. What we have here is a more or less description of your typical CX stack. So you've got something like CRM, customer relationship management. That's where you're keeping track of all those conversations with customers. You probably have some form of deflection, some way that customers can solve their own problems without having to talk to someone, some way of routing, getting a specific problem to the right person who has the skill set, privileges, or ability to solve that problem. Agents who are trained, informed, and able to solve problems. You've got surveys or some way of understanding how the interaction was with a customer. QA in terms of seeing overall how the organization is doing, how agents are performing, not just whether or not they can execute a policy, but how are they doing it? Are they doing that every time, 80% of the time, 20% of the time? And then finally, analytics. This is reaching up and out of the organization. What's the overall volume of conversations? So you imagine a typical CX stack. You might not have some of these things, but this is pretty standard. And think about the evolution from a more traditional call center, even before anything too digital. You've got phones, but you have people sitting together in a room in a conference, in a call center, talking on the phone. You probably have call logs or recordings as a CRM. You might have an FAQ or a manual about your product. You've got an operator who's triaging those calls. You've got a supervisor in the room who's helping agents, come over here, help me. Can you get on the phone with this person? You have people who are calling to follow up. You've got QA listening in on those call logs and trying to score and write down, figure out what's going on. And analytics are pretty rough. You might be able to measure volume, you might be able to measure how long calls are lasting, but it's hard to be precise about too much more than that. That's kind of where we've been up until 5-10 years ago, but really recently. And where we're at now is definitely smack in the middle of this digital section. So we've got sophisticated CRM platforms, something like Salesforce, Zendesk, Twilio. We've got deflection in the form of software, self-service. I talked about that. Routing, agents can transfer or escalate a ticket, a conversation to a specialized team, like a safety team. You've got supervisors who no longer sit in the same room with agents, but they found a way. They're having virtual one on ones. They're maybe using Slack to have group discussions or help someone out. Got surveys that are going out to emails. There's some manual scorecard software. And CRMs, thankfully, are able to deliver pretty precise metrics. How long are your conversations lasting? How many tickets are these agents taking? How long does a customer have to wait before they get a first response? Pretty helpful. But at every layer of the tech stack, or really the process, the components of an organization, there's a way that conversational AI can help take the digital and meet the problems at scale. With CRMs, you're starting to get in advanced analytics, things like profiling a customer and knowing how many times have they called in before. Are they a VIP customer? Something like that, without having to ask them. Deflection, we talked about chatbots. There's technology for auto routing based on a customer saying, I have this problem and I'm going to get you straight to the right team without having to be transferred through multiple agents. Agent Assist, you've got real-time guidance happening actually live in an interaction. Surveys, there's conversational AI and natural language understanding models that can predict the outcome of a conversation without a customer ever having to fill out a survey. There's automated scoring and auditing of tickets that help humans find where the problems areas are at. So you don't have to read through every ticket, the things that humans aren't good at. But you are directed to the problems. You've got the software reading through every ticket and directing the human to where the problem is at so they can fix it, because that's what humans are good at, problem solving. So let's take an example. We're starting to get more tactical, but all of this still feels a little abstract. So let's take an example of Agent Assist. This is one of the areas that the company that I work at, Loris, my lead product there, has a product specifically for giving agents real-time guidance throughout conversations in live digital channels. So here's what happens when you add conversational AI into your workflow. This is a pretty stylized graphic, but it's based off real data. This is actually what you see in a matter of weeks. A drastic dip in response time. Overall conversations are shorter. Agents are performing in a more standardized way. You're removing those barriers like like how quickly you can type, or how focused on spelling, how strong your English skills are. And because of this, agents are able to handle more conversations at once. So that's just my spiel. Short and sweet, a little bit about conversational AI and its practical implications. This is what I work on at Loris. We use machine learning to make conversations more human, empathetic, and also scalable. If you want to learn more, you can email us. My name's Althea. Again, you can reach out to me. And then I think, Natalie, we were going to do just a little bit of Q&A. I wasn't watching the thing because my screen was on.
Yeah, there is just some comments here, but really, I don't see any questions. Everyone, if you do have a question, feel free to drop them here in the chat and would love to get it answered.
Yeah, absolutely. No silly questions here either. Please don't be shy. No, AI is kind of a daunting topic.
We have appreciate all
Thank
the
you, Khalid.
insight.
Oh, mahalo to you as well.
Let's see, there's no other questions then.
Then, otherwise, you can save your questions for later. Reach out to me. I'm available.
We have someone asking, what is the best live chat tool, I guess?
Live chat platform or live chat
Yes.
tool?
platform?
Ooh, that's tough. I so I don't build platforms. Our product sits on top of platforms or CRMs. Honestly, my perspective is everyone has a platform, and that everyone is trying to switch to a different platform. I'm not sure that there's a clear industry leader. Some top ones that I hear from a lot, Zendesk, definitely an industry leader. They have pretty good omni-channel. Salesforce as well can be expensive depending on your organization. Intercom, pretty developer friendly. Twilio Flex as well, new developer friendly, really customizable. I think I'm sure someone who builds platforms might disagree with me, but my perspective is that it's not so much about how you deliver the live chat experience as what that live chat experience is. No matter what platform you use, you've got problems with concurrency. You've got to figure out how to route. You've got to figure out how to help your agents have conversations with customers.
So here's another one. Oops. We have CRM and basic live chat, but want to build an AI chat and improve our CX.
Awesome. Yeah, this is really common. A lot of organizations have basic live chat, and they're trying to meet the transition to chat. It's a different ball game. It's way different from phone, but also different from email. If you think about it, email is kind of like sending letters back and forth, whereas chat's much more like having a conversation. Um, I would recommend adding AI into any layers of your CX stack. Loris helps companies scale, especially this is one of the problems that we talk about where you're really getting started with your chat program and transferring your volume, but it's a new ball game, and ramping up and maintaining quality, tracking quality is really difficult. So we focus on real-time live chat conversations. So I'll take that as a follow-up of, of how to help you. But I will say that that's a very, very common statement.
Same person
Intercom
is
is
saying
so
that intercoms
expensive.
are so expensive. I do have a tip for you here. You can actually apply, if you are a startup under 2 years old, you can apply to their 95% discount plan. I just dropped the link there. It's early stage, and I think you're gonna pay something like $60 a month for a year, I think.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing, actually. Great tip. Are the softwares that are $500 per month worth the difference? Hard to say, honestly. It depends on what software you're talking about, and it depends on, I think my advice to anyone who is selecting a stack or struggling with their stack is to really think about what problems you have. What does your organization, what problems are you trying to solve before going to the solutions?
Love it. Looks like we've tackled all the questions here. So, everyone, thank you so much for being so active. Althea,
Awesome.
thank you so much for sharing your
Oh,
expertise, and it was absolutely amazing.
thank you. One more thing I'll share with everyone here is that Loris is giving away a 3-month free trial for anyone, to a random person who attended the talk today. So if you're interested in that, you can drop us an email. We're going to pick someone at random by Monday. So sign up.
That is amazing, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. So, one more time, where do people go? Just email you guys?
Hello at loris.ai. Or you can find me
Awesome.
directly on LinkedIn, loris.ai. You can find our website. Anyway, really.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Everyone, we do have a
Okay.
couple more minutes before the next session, so just grab a cup of coffee or something, and then we'll be right back in 5 minutes in the next session. Althea, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Bye, everyone. Thank you for
Bye.
coming.